Hi everyone and welcome back to our gameplay tag series. In this video, I want to show you an example of gameplay tags being used as a way to track progression in a game. So in our example here, we're going to have an NPC who has a line of dialogue, and that line of dialogue is going to change based upon what progression the player has made in this non-linear example. So let's jump in and take a look at how we achieve this. So to begin things off, let's take a look at our example here. We've got two reputation fields. We'll come to those in a minute. But we've got the NPC over here. Walk up to him. He'll say, "Hello, adventurer." Click, and I can visit. Okay, very simple, very basic setup. We're not going to be covering a full dialogue system, but just to give you an example of what we do here. So I want him to say something different if I have this gun. Okay, so at the moment he will say the same thing every time. So the progression of me collecting that gun has to be a little bit different. So how would we do that? Well, first of all, let's work out how we can track progression. We're going to be using tags. So we're going to go to project settings, go to gameplay tags, go to manage gameplay tags. In here, we're going to add a new one. Don't forget to select your source. And then in here, we're going to have a top level category called progression. Then use a period or full stop to signify the next category. And in this one, we're going to do as weapon. Okay, and you can have a whole list of different progressions, different categorizations of them, whatever it is you may want. So we'll do that there. Okay, so first things first, I need to pick up the weapon and collect that tag. So what I'm going to do is on this weapon here, I'm going to go to pick up on rifle. Okay, and in the pick up rifle here, you can see we have a reference to the player character, and it's just giving them the weapon there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have on my player character a way of tracking progression. I'm going to have a variable in here saying progression tracker. And the type for this is going to be a gameplay tag container. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I want to add or merge gameplay tags into here. And I pick up the rifle. So on the rifle, got a reference to the first person player character. We're going to get the progression. And then from here, we're going to add a gameplay tag. And the tag we're going to add in here, we can have as a variable, or we can just hard code it in and say this. Go. So now the player has this tag being tracked, their progression track. So how do we make him say something different based upon that progression tracker? So there is a bad way and good way of doing this. So the bad way would be to have a simple like check like switcher here to change what text you want to do. But you probably want to make your thing more scalable. So when you're making an NPC, you're probably going to have a dialogue table. So in here, we're going to create a dialogue structure. And dialogue table structure, we're going to have the tag requirement. And that's going to be a gameplay tag query. And what the query will allow us to do on the default values, we can add in here has to have all tags match, or expressions tagging, or any tags match. Specify what kind of tag you want it to match here. Okay, so we are going to just reset that. And on the structure, we're going to go and add in the text we actually want to show. It's going to be a text variable. With that done as a struct, we can now make a table of this. So we go to miscellaneous, data table, and we're going to choose our F dialog table. And in our dialog table, we can add rows to this. So the default row we can have in here would be default. That'd be the idea of their text being basically if nothing matches default. So in here, we're going to have hello adventurer. But I'm going to add another one. And this tag is going to be a little bit different. So the tag requirement for this is going to be all tags matching. And we're going to be matching the progression as weapon. As you can see, you can add more to this. You can add whatever you like to it. And good to see you have your weapon. Okay, so that is our dialogue table down. So back on our NPC, we're going to have our dialogue table referenced. So we're going to have a dialogue table. And this would be a data table asset, which we can assign as our NPC dialogue table. Now I want to get the corresponding dialogue table row. So we're going to just break things off into functions here. So I'm going to take this create dialogue widget, perhaps that to a function, and we'll do trigger dialogue. Will it? So in the trigger dialogue, once in here, we're going to take our dialogue table, and we want to get the rows, row names. And I now need to query my data table to find the ones with the matching tag. So on the out row names, we're going to take this and do a for each loop. And in here, we're going to see the table, get table row. Over here. And with this out row here, we're going to break it. Now, this is wildcard at the moment, so it doesn't know how to break it. We have to tell it specifically what we want to do. And so we'll be breaking as an F dialogue table. Give us our tag requirement. So we're going to take our tag requirement, and we're going to type in query and use does container match tag query. And here we need to give it a tag container, and that's going to come from the player character. So let me just get a reference to the player character at the start here. Get player character. And I'm just going to do a cast for now. Store that variable. Player character. And so when I'm going to tag query, I can now grab that progression tracker from our player character, put it on there. If it's true, that means we've found the correct row. On row found, that's going to go there. Text to display, we're going to promote to a local variable. Text. And when it's completed, we're going to go down to here and we're going to plug in our text. If it has not managed to find any, okay, we want it to pick the first one. Right? So we want to pick the default row. So before all this happens, before we go and get all the row names, you just want to search for the data table row, first row. So we're going to get the table, get data table row. And I want to put in the word default, because that's what we named our first row there. Default. We're going to break that into an F dialog table, and we're going to store that text value there. And then once it's done that, it's then going to go into the for each loop. So by default, we're going to have the default text set. So if this doesn't get changed, it was going to spit out the default text that we assigned in the data table. So let's test this out in our game. So let me go walk up to him first. Hello, adventurer. Left click. Now pick up the gun. I should have the tag now. Good to see you have your weapon. Brilliant. Okay, so that is a good way of tracking your progression to get different results. And that could be the same for unlocking doors or triggering certain cutscenes, whatever it is you may want to do. The main thing I wanted to show you was the tag query and how you can assign it to different things. But let's talk about something else. What about if we've got a reputation system as well as our weapon progression tracker? and we can make him change maybe his tone of voice based upon what we've got our reputation set to. So let's go ahead and go back to our project settings, gameplay tags, and we're going to manage our gameplay tags. We're going to add a new one. Get to choose a source, and we're going to do reputation, period, NPC guard. Okay. Close this. And now, we need to build our reputation up. So on my project here, I made a little reputation system component. It's basically just got a very simple rep value, but this is no good for us. We want to track multiple different reputations with us. So on the variables here, we're going to track that here. So I want to go ahead and add in there reputation. Here we're going to choose gameplay tag, and we're going to map it. Oh, I map it to a float. And what I can do here is I can add reputations by adding the tag and putting the value in. So let's make a function to manage our reputations. So add reputation. And it's going to have a float. And also need to know what reputation we're adding. And that's going to come down to our gameplay tag. Play tag. Reputation. And when I'm taking my reputations tag out here, I want to drag out, find one with the matching tag. I then want to add on the existing value to the new value. And then going to set it back to my map. Doing the add the value in, and add the tag on. And now we've got a map here, which is going to be tracking those reputation gains. So let's show that on these cups I made. So on here, on active begin overlap here, I'm just going to get the reputation system and do add reputation. And we'll just make that plugged into my variable here, reputation gain. And the reputation I want to add here, we might as well make that variable. Close it, not close it, and make it editable. Okay, so over here, I can select this one over here, green one, and I can now choose the reputation we're going to adding here is NPC guard. And this one will also be NPC. Okay. And to help us debug this, I'm going to make a reputation system tick out the reputation we have for the NPC guard. So we're going to do find NPC guard. And then we're going to just do a print string, print out that value. And we'll do it at 0 seconds. We're going to get one on the screen at a time. Okay, so there is our 0 up there, top left. When I walk into here, it goes up to 5, 10. This one will bring it down 5 each time. We're going to negative. Okay, so let's make him say something different based upon that. So let's go ahead and go to our NPC, a data table. Okay, so the thing that's going to be a little bit different here is we want it to have a check to see what level of reputation that he actually currently has. So the tag requirement is going to be a little bit different. So let me add a tag requirement here. I'm going to add it to the existing one we have here. And I'm going to add in here a new type of tag. In this case, we want the reputation NPC guard to be ticked on. We want that. But we also want to have a way to check whether or not we're positive or negative reputation. Or if you have different tiers of reputation, whatever it may be. So what I could do here is I could have a reputation gameplay tags. I'm going to have in here level. sorry, reputation. There we go. And we do rep level, and then we'll do neutral as 1. Oh, I forgot to give tag file. There we go. So there's our rep level. I'm gonna add another one to this. I'm gonna add another sub tag to this, and that'll be friendly. And we're gonna have another one called hostile. Okay, so we've got these rep level tags as well. These can sit inside the reputation one. That's fine. So the tag here we're looking for this tree, and it has to match all of them. If we have a weapon, and it's NPC guard reputation, and rep level for this is friendly. Okay, so we've got that different commentary coming out of here. And now if I add another one, we're going to have a similar setup. We're going to have all tags matching, and we're going to have the reputation set to guard and the rep level set to hostile this time. And we'll also progression also has to have a weapon. And in here, maybe a bit scared of you because he's hostile. Like, whoa, doing that. I don't mean any trouble. Okay. So we can specify different types of tags and different requirements, and these are sort of sub categories really. So both need progression, both need reputation, but of different levels. So to add the tag for the reputation gains, we're going to go into our reputation system, and in here we're going to make a function to evaluate our reputation with someone. And for that, we're going to get the reputation. Need to know which reputation first. Let's put that in there. A tag. Reputation. And we're going to find the matching reputation in here. And basically, I need to just say if this value is between this, that, evaluate 2 different tags. So we're going to have in here, we're going to say in range. Actually, our one's going to be simpler. We'll just do it's less than 0. And put that as a branch. So if that's true and we're less than 0, we're going to output that we're hostile to this reputation here. So we're going to do a return node. And the output for this is going to be a gameplay tag container. And the reason why it's contained is because you actually need 2 tags. You need the tag that we're bringing in and also what level of the tag we have. So we'll put an outcome name. And on the return node over here, I can now choose what ones I want to use. So reputation, NPC guard, and this one will be hostile. Okay, so it's going to output both of those tags. On false, we'll do that check again. This time, if it's greater than 0. And we're going to output true. This time, we're going to add in rep level of friendly. And if it's false, we're going to output neutral. Okay, so evaluate the different reputation coming out of here. And we can just make this a pure function too, if we want. And as you can see, when you add this to your scene, it comes up like this. Okay, so that will give us the outcome of that evaluation. So when does this come in handy? Well, when we talk to our NPC, we want to assess that tag. Okay, so we're going to go into our trigger dialog, and here's our query we're checking. We're checking the progression tracker versus the tag requirement. However, this will no longer match anymore because the tag requirement has a few things. So I want to combine it to a different container to check both progression and the reputation as well. So for this, we need to know the reputation. So let's go get a reputation system. And I want to evaluate our reputation. And the rep here, I'm going to promote to a variable. So the NPC has a reputation assigned to them. I'll want to set that now. Reputation, NPC guard. And I now need to combine these two into a single container to evaluate against this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tag container, disconnect it, and promote it to a local variable. And we'll do combined container, we'll call it. And we'll just set, or get that rather, sorry, not set. And we're going to append gameplay tag containers. Now, what this will do is, as the name implies, it will append them all together. However, we can only do one at a time. So we will need 2 of these, each tag container we have here. So we're going to, first of all, put in the one we want to append to in the top here. In the bottom, we'll put in our tag container. And then we're going to do it again for the progression track. Okay, and then that's going to evaluate that against the combined container now. Dead. Okay. So let's see how this behaves. Go into the game. We're going to get a positive station, pick up the weapon. Good to see you have your weapon. Excellent. But what about if we have negative reputation? Bring that down now. -5. Whoa, what are you doing that? I don't mean any trouble. It works perfectly. And we can flip-flop between the two quite happily. Those could be useful for also like doing like romantic bits, and like you want to do friendship levels, things like that, and have people react differently according to what you're doing and who you are. And we could put a neutral one in. You can do whatever you like. You just put in whatever combination you want inside that dialogue table. But it's a very simplified dialogue system. But hopefully what we got from this was the use of gameplay tags and how you can use them for various different things. There you go. Hopefully you can see a versatile and flexible use of gameplay tags, and very nice way of tracking things like progression and reputation in a very concise way. If you like this video and want to see more about gameplay tags, do let us know in the comments below about what you want to see done with gameplay tags. As I say, they are a very versatile tool and can be useful for many different types of systems. And if you want to see a more detailed dialogue system, one that we actually do in more advanced stuff, we'll make use of gameplay tags in that too. Let us know in the comments if you want to see that. If you want to support the channel and watch all these videos early before everyone else, head over to patreon.com/Ryan Laley, where a donation of just $1 gets you access to all our videos early before everyone else. Thank you so much for your support. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone.